Welcome to Real World AIP. I'm Stacey, and today I want to talk about how I stay lean on AIP. I know some people have trouble keeping weight on Autoimmune Protocol. I find it really easy to gain weight on the Autoimmune Protocol, and as a matter of fact, one of my biggest pet peeves is when I tell someone, oh, I have celiac, I can't have gluten, I'm allergic to tomatoes and whatever, all this other stuff, and they're like, oh, that's why you're so thin. Oh, that makes me so mad. You don't even know. You don't even know. Have you tried my apple cinnamon bars? Have you tried them? Listen, I could be morbidly obese on the Autoimmune Protocol if I didn't watch what I ate, because there are bunches of wonderful, delicious things that I can have. Unlimited ooey gooey dates with coconut butter stuffed in them, apple cinnamon bars all day long, maybe a little maple syrup drizzled on there, and maybe some sliced bananas. No, I can't. Just trust me. I am not lean because I'm on the Autoimmune Protocol. So what do I eat within the Autoimmune Protocol to stay lean? Nutrient density is super important, especially if you're not eating a ton of calories. You want to make sure the calories you do eat are really nutritious. I will tell you straight up, I could not live without 3 recipes that are in my cookbook. Oh yeah, my cookbook is ready, you guys. I did it. I made a cookbook. It's an ebook. It's my top 20 all-time favorite recipes. These are the best, the best of the best, of the best of the best of the best of the best, the ones you need. Yeah, I could have filled the book up with, oh, come on. Who needs another bone broth recipe? This is like the game-changing stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna link below to where you can get it. And there are 3 recipes in that book. And these 3 you can actually find on YouTube as well. And on my blog, realworldaip.com. I live on these. I must have these. I named it Pimped Out Burger Bake, but I changed the name to Nutrient Dense Burger Bake because, I don't know, it seemed a little more appropriate for the book. But I can't live without that. That has liver in it and oysters, which are loaded with zinc. They kind of balance out the zinc copper ratio in the whole mix, and it's so nutritious. It's rocket fuel for humans. And I love to bring that when I had work before coronavirus. I would bring that to work, eat it cold as a snack right out of the fridge, like a meatloaf, pair it with a banana for like a complete meal. I love to have that pre-workout, post-workout, breakfast, any meal of the day. I love it. I love it. I love it. Sometimes I do eat it hot. You can crumble it over some spaghetti squash or something and put some, no tomato marinara on there. But in general, I usually just eat it cold and it's so good. I always have this batch in the freezer, like always. And I've been making it thin in the sheet pan, and it's perfect snack. This and a banana. Other thing I can't live without is my shellfish whisk, and there's a recipe. I'll link to that below, or you can find it in my cookbook. And that is how I get in my mussels or clams, sometimes oysters. Sometimes I'll throw in a little salmon in there too for the heck of it. But that's how I get my other super nutrient dense rocket fuel. And I will take that bisque, and I have it in mason jars. Like, I always have a bunch of these in my freezer. This one is a clam bisque, this one's a mussel bisque. You can mix them up. But I'll take a jar of this and I'll use it like sauce because it's super thick. I could have put more coconut milk or water in it, but it's thick like this. I'll put it over spaghetti squash, and that's delicious. And then my other staple must have are my AIP breakfast and omelettes. I love my omelettes. And I have a bunch of these batched up and single portions, and I put these are Italian seasoned. Sometimes I'll put a reintro cumin in there, and I'll do like a Mexican one. And I make these 5 pounds at a time. I always have them in the freezer. I usually wake up at like 11 or 12, and I just want something real quick because I usually wake up hungry, and then I have lunch soon after. But what I've been doing is I make a little fruit jar. I buy most everything frozen lately. I haven't wanted to be in the kitchen as much. So I bought frozen organic strawberries, frozen pineapple, frozen organic wild blueberries. And sometimes I get mango, sometimes I get mixed berries, raspberries. And I just fill a jar with them frozen. I usually do 3 at a time. And then they'll thaw overnight. Tomorrow I'll have some fresh berries. They'll be all thawed. And they taste great. They taste like I bought them fresh. They last a whole lot longer this way. If you're not going to be eating a real meal after that, I would pair it with something. But what I usually will do is I'll have this with my reintro coffee, and then like an hour later I will have my Aip Breakfast and Omelette, and I'll have that with probably some like plantain couscous, which is also my cookbook. But that's like one of my staple carbs. Kind of acts like a rice or a couscous, and I'll have that down and to stretch it out. And here's the thing, so I like to have a lot of food at a time. I like a lot of volume. I don't like to have a little bowl or a little plate of something. Actually, I never use a plate. Everything's in a bowl, a serving bowl. I always have spaghetti squash and romaine or iceberg. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, iceberg has no nutrition. No, it doesn't. It's like water, but it has a functional value in that it takes up space on the plate. So I get my big old bowl out. I measure out about a cup of this couscous, and then I always have spaghetti squash. I make it in the Instant Pot. I cut it in half, remove the seeds. I put mine in the Instant Pot for 21 minutes. I like it soft. I do not want it crunchy. And then I just let it hang out in the fridge like this, and it actually dries out and removes some of the moisture so that it's more spaghetti-like. And when you cut it in half, like this, you get longer spaghetti strands. Fun fact. If you cut it like that, you get shorter strands. Spaghetti squash is like diet food. I remember having a past health coaching client who was eating a lot of spaghetti squash, but she was having trouble keeping weight on, and I was like, stop eating spaghetti squash because it's filling you up and it's like taking up a lot of volume, but it's not, it just like has hardly anything. It would be not good for you if you wanted to put on weight, but if you're trying to stay lean, it's great because it expands your dish and it makes you feel like you're eating a lot and you're getting a lot of bites in and you're full and you're satisfied, but it's nothing to it. I tend to avoid flours. Anything that is processed into a flour is a little more easy to digest. You're getting a little bit more, you're absorbing a little bit more calories from it. It's usually a little more palatable too, because whatever you're making with flours tends to be something you want to overeat, and it's just very dense, and I just kind of avoid it. I do use tiger nut, but outside of that, and also a lot of the AIP flours bother my stomach anyway. But also, I try not to add a lot of oil to my food. I try to eat food that are naturally high in fat. Like, I'm not afraid of fat, but fat is calorically dense, you know, it has 9 calories a gram where carbs have 4. But fat is very important and you shouldn't avoid it. But at the same time, dousing it, it's again, oil is processed. The farther away you get from processed, the better off. So I'm not having flour and I'm not having extracted oils. I'm just kind of trying to eat the whole food. So I'll eat avocados, I'll eat, you know, 80% grass-fed ground beef, I'll eat some wild salmon, which is kind of lean really. Yeah, I'm not avoiding fat, but I'm also not really going crazy with it. I do use olive oil on my salad. I'll do like, you know, half a tablespoon on my salad. Not that I never use it, but just try not to have too much of it, I guess. In the back of my head is part of the things that help me stay lean. This is a salad bowl for me, and I will fill it with the romaine all the way up to here, and then I'll put a little radicchio in there, and then I'll just put a bunch of like balsamic and, you know, half tablespoon of olive oil, bunch of salt, bunch of super thin sliced onions, and you know, you're just eating forever. It's so satiating. I have reintro green beans and I eat a ton of them because I can buy them frozen, and like there's a lot of things that were bothering my stomach that I figured out through Viome. So most every vegetable that I can conveniently buy frozen is something that bothers my stomach. Broccoli, cauliflower, I don't know, you name them. So I do all the green beans. Reintro alert, but a lot of green beans and green peas, and then like artichokes. I eat a lot of onions. I do not have a problem with onions. I have done low FODMAP trials. When I bring the onions back, all I can eat onions. I'm fine. I love onions. So I always have those and everything. Mushrooms, I do some mushrooms. I usually stick to low FODMAP oyster mushrooms, but I do eat a ton of veggies just to bulk up my meals. And then like protein, gotta have, you know, a lot of protein. Probably eating about 12 ounces a day. I used to eat less, but since I got more into like bodybuilding, I eat more. And but yeah, 12 to 16 ounces a day, and I try to stick to 12 just because of price. Basically, I focus on nutrient density, I focus on volume, filling up the plate with things that are not a lot of calories, that make me feel like I can eat a lot, that satiate me, and just kind of trying to avoid very processed things and like sugar. I'm totally sugar phobic. I'm actually going to make a peach barbecue sauce for Patreon this month, and there might be a little date syrup in there, and that's fine. Like, I'm not crazy where I can't have any, but like I wouldn't make that on my own. It'll be okay. Just a little bit on a burger here and there, it'll be good. I've actually backed off of most of my reintros because like the sorghum and the buckwheat and the wild rice wasn't, you know what it is? Not so much that I was having a problem with them. Maybe I got a little brain fog from the sorghum, but they were kind of like addictive to me. Those foods are like heroin to me. I crave them, I eat a double serving of them, and then I want to take a nap. So it's not really conducive to me getting out and being active and not overeating. So I'm just kind of staying away from them because I don't know what it is about those gluten-free grains that just have me wanting to overeat and make me lazy. So to heck with them. I will stick with my plantains and bananas and some tiger nuts here and there, and that's what I'm gonna have for carbs. And maybe if I get too skinny and I want to put on a little weight, I'll start eating some sorghum before bed. I actually made this little food pyramid for myself that I put on the fridge. I got some sticky like whiteboard, whatever. And so here is my personal stay lean AIP pyramid. So as you can see, I have a volume on the bottom: spaghetti, squash, lettuce, that's a reintro, green bean, all the veggies, all the high volume veggies. Protein because it's satiating, plantain, banana, berries, those are my carbs. And then my fats. Those are reintro, nuts, coconut milk, my new tomato sauce. It was more flavor than fat really, but here's my Stacey AIP pyramid. And then within here is the nutrient dense burger bake and the nutrient dense seafood bisque and the breakfast and omelet and all these, you know, wild salmon and just all the nutrient dense things there. So there it is. Anyway, so that's how I stay lean on AIP. I hope you like this video. If you want to see more exclusive behind the scenes videos and recipes, a recipe every month, check me out on Patreon. I'll put a link below, and don't forget to check out my cookbook. Let me know if you have any tips for how you stay lean on Autoimmune Protocol, or if you're struggling with putting weight on, check out the apple cinnamon bars. Hope you guys are all doing great, and I will see you soon. Until then, be healthy.